police officer jumps into his cruiser seconds before a train slams into a car carrier. No, this is not a scene from a movie or TV show, but the cars on that trailer might be. Next, we're going to look at what led up to all this, how those cars were removed after the collision, and what you can do to stay safe around the tracks. A quiet evening in Conyers, Georgia. It's April 11th, 2023, and a police officer is pulling up to help a trucker whose trailer has bottomed out on a railroad crossing. The driver is trying to find a way to get his truck off of here.
I'm gonna have to take these cars off, and then I hope the trailer raise up.
The officer offers suggestions as both men try to come up with a plan.
What if you just pull them forward and put the weight up on the axles up front?
Soon, another officer arrives to help. And about a minute after that, bad news comes over the radio.
505, 571, be advised, there is a train coming your way.
The police dispatcher says they're contacting the railroad.
571, we're contacting CSX.
Seconds later, the gates are going down.
'71, clear out of there.
Luckily, everyone is clear of the truck by the time this happens.
Radio, we've got impact, advise CSX.
As the officer drives toward the wreck, you can see the truck's trailer has been split in half. One of the cars that was on it is sitting at the crossing and the other is gone. The dust is settling when more police arrive. Look closely at the side of the truck. NBC Universal. That's a clue about where those cars were going. Probably the set of a movie or TV show. This looks like a Chevy Nova from the early 1970s. It appears to be in one piece for the most part, but that wasn't the case for other things the train hit.
There is significant damage to the railway equipment.
And don't worry, the train crew was okay too. But the police wanted to check something else after that impact.
Well, contact the fire department because we have hazardous materials on here.
All this time, a convoy of film production trucks is passing the scene, headed toward downtown Conyers. At this point, we get a closer look at the train. That red flashing light is an end-of-train device, or EOT. As the officer approaches the lead unit, CSX 6024, we can see where the other car went. This Mercedes is stuck to the front. I think this car is definitely totaled. But the locomotive fared a little better. Its front handrails are bent. And it appears its fuel cap is also missing. The cars behind the engines look like they're fine with no leaks. A few of them did have hazmat placards. The UN number here, 1301, means this car hauls vinyl acetate stabilized. But I don't know if it was loaded or not. Eventually, the officer walks back to the crossing, and we get a second look at that trailer that was cut in half. Some trackside equipment was also taken out on impact. It was now time to get the road vehicles out of here. And one of the guys on the scene noticed something unusual about that Chevy Nova.
The rails in front of the car for the cameras.
While the cleanup began at the crossing, the officer went to talk to the train crew about what happened.
I know I asked y'all before, but y'all are okay in here. How did it, was there an impact for you in here?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. How fast were y'all going? Just curious.
I said 20, 40, 43 maybe.
Back at the grade crossing, a heavy wrecker was hard at work removing the trailer. Of course, there was still a car stuck to the front of the engine, but with the help of the wrecker service, they came up with a plan.
And then they're going to come try to strap this thing to the front of this engine and let y'all back down and just drag it back up there.
Eventually, tow trucks came for that old Nova and the tractor. Then the train slowly emerged, dragging that Mercedes. Of course, locomotives are almost always going to come out on top, when they go up against cars and trucks. There's no doubt, engines like 6024 are survivors. It's an EMD GP40-2 that was built in 1972. Now, with the train and wreckage out of the way, it's time for everyone to leave the scene. So what does the crossing look like a month later? Well, as you might imagine, all the debris appears to be gone, and it looks like CSX replaced some of the trackside equipment that was here, including putting in a new gate arm. The tracks cross the road here at Scott Street, right next to downtown Conyers. The line goes from Atlanta to Augusta and was once part of the Georgia Railroad. You'll see they have not forgotten about that railroad here in Conyers. I also found this sticker left over from the predecessor to CSX. This old depot is now the town's welcome center. Driving through here, I think you can understand why a production company might want to use it for a filming location. Sadly, that Chevy and the Mercedes never made it to their shoot. The train that evening was headed southeast on this line when it slammed into the trailer. They stopped a little more than 1,000 feet from the crossing, according to the crash report filed by the Conyers police. The train, L84111, started its journey about 7 miles away in Lithonia. CSX has a small yard here. This locomotive, CSX 6532, was actually the trailing engine the night of the accident. The train was headed to Covington, Georgia. Now, you may be left with a few lingering questions like, was anything hazardous spilled after the collision? Fortunately, according to the crash report, no hazmat was released. Another important thing to note on the crash report is that no citations were issued. Driving around this area, I never found any signs prohibiting trucks from going across this crossing. Hopefully, a situation like this never happens to any of us, but what if it does? Well, one thing you can do if there's no immediate danger is look for a blue and white sign like this one. These are called Emergency Notification System or ENS signs. They have an 800 number you can call, along with the crossings number that you can give to the operator to tell them exactly where you are. Now, I'm not going to second guess what anyone did in this situation. I would imagine it was pretty tense. Ultimately, no one got hurt, and that's all that matters. Okay, so what was filming in Conyers that week? Well, I can't say for sure, but I think it was a show that'll be on Peacock called Hysteria, which is a 1980s satanic panic drama. Alright, so if you didn't know, a lot of movies and TV shows are filmed right here in Georgia, and one of the reasons is because those productions get massive tax breaks from the state. Anyway, that's it for now. As always, thanks for watching.